All right, guys, today we're going to talk about our final section for the year. Also, one of the more labor intensive and complex aspects of the Keystone test, and that's the constructed response section. Most of the test consists of constructed response questions. So, knowing how the formula to kind of figure those questions out and the best way to answer them is going to be really helpful. So constructed response questions, also known as short answer questions, almost always ask you to either analyze or explain, and they will usually use one of those two words interchangeably. When they use those kinds of words, it's basically asking you to prove your point. So to make an assertion, to answer a question, and then to give evidence to back yourself up. Every question is going to ask you to connect the main point or the theme of the passage to some kind of literary concept if it's a fiction passage. So some prove it to me language that you can use to kind of construct your response is listed here. The first two you'll notice, one reason, the second reason, the third reason, first, second, third. They have it's groups of three basically, and the reason why it's groups of three is because they almost always want you to use or include three different examples to back up your overall assertion or your overall answer. And a lot of times, every time they'll ask you to have those three examples from the text. They will never give you a text that doesn't have at least three different examples. So there will always be three different reasons or three different examples or three different pieces of evidence to support your overall topic. You just got to go in and find it. You can also include, regardless of the fact that, therefore, which shows, because, despite, in addition, in particular, right? So all these are used to kind of connect all your thoughts. But these first two, one reason, the second reason, the third reason, and first, second, third are some of the most important because that lends you an idea of the structure that you're supposed to follow. So your constructed response rubric, the way that they grade this, and they give you a rubric when you take the test, but it's not very clear on how they go about grading it. So I'm going to break it down for you here. So constructed responses are evaluated from 0 to 3. You can either get 0 points, 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. And the criteria is as follows. To get a 3, they want a clear, complete, and accurate analysis of the provided topic. Unfortunately, that doesn't really tell you what specifically they want. So in parentheses here, I have mentioned your response contains at least 3 examples and at least 3 explanations. So one explanation, for example. A 2-point response is a partial analysis of the provided topic and may contain some inaccuracies. So usually it contains 2 examples, 2 explanations. A 1 is minimal analysis of the provided topic and includes little or no information about the particular part of the topic. And in that case, it's containing a mention of the topic and an example, but no real explanation. A 0 is totally incorrect or irrelevant or contains insufficient information to demonstrate comprehension. Basically, if you just totally missed the mark and didn't answer the question at all, you have to work very, very hard to get a 0. They try as hard as they can to give you at least 1 point. So if you get a 0, you probably did not, you probably didn't do something you were supposed to do. You didn't read the prompt, you didn't read the passage, whatever it is. So sample prompt here, and this is obviously not one you'll see on the actual test, but it's good for our purposes here. So sample prompt, analyze how pizza is a nutritional snack. Use examples to support your answers. You notice we see that word analyze again. So a 0-point response here. You'll notice it's pretty long, but it's still a 0-point response, and I'll explain why later. So here's our response. Pizza is an amazing food made of many different components. The base, made of dough, which can be white or wheat flour, can hold many toppings. On top of the dough, one could put either a traditional marinara sauce or, for adventurous eaters, a white garlic sauce. Over the sauce, a plethora of cheese options exists, but traditionalists usually select some combination of Parmesan and mozzarella. After the cheese, the world is your oyster, as any number of toppings can complete this culinary masterpiece. Even though it's well written, even though it's long, even though it's got good vocabulary, it does not address in any way how pizza can be a nutritional snack, and it doesn't follow the criteria of the rubric. Therefore, it gets a 0. If we look at our 1-point response here, significantly shorter, but still 1 point. I once ate pizza in Seattle topped with low-fat cheese and vegetables. Because it is mentioning something about nutrition and kind of implying that pizza can be healthy in some way, it's going to get 1 point. Obviously, that is not where you want to be. You want to get a 3-pointer. But just goes to show you that it's not how much you write, it's what you write. Okay, you can write a whole page worth of response, but if it doesn't answer the question, it doesn't give your examples, then you're not going to get the points. So a 2-point response, a little longer here. Pizza is a nutritional snack. So there's our assertion right off the bat. It's saying pizza is a nutritional snack. That's something you want to address in every response that you write. You can buy pizza almost anywhere. They even sell it in the cafeteria, and you can buy it every day, so it must be healthy. Almost everyone likes it. Pizza usually comes with toppings like onions, peppers, and pepperoni. The vegetables are healthy. So in this 2-point response, we have one very clear example and explanation. Pizza usually comes with toppings like onions, peppers, and pepperoni. The vegetables are healthy. That's our example and our explanation. Very clear. By giving, hey, it's got vegetables on it. The vegetables are healthy. That's one very clear example and explanation. It also provides kind of a fuzzy explanation, but one that still flies. So it says in the first example, they even sell it in the cafeteria, and you can buy it every day, so it must be healthy. That's not the best example, but it's still a try at it, so they're going to give you a point for that. And then here's our 3-point response. This is obviously going to be our best one. Many people enjoy eating pizza. However, many people do not realize that pizza is also a highly nutritional snack. There's our assertion. One reason, there's a prove it to me language. One reason pizza is nutritional is the fact that it is made with tomatoes. According to many scientists, tomatoes help to fight cancer. In addition, pizza is topped with delicious cheese, which contains vitamin D that promotes strong bones and teeth. Even though pizza is made with dough, a carbohydrate, it is still healthy because people need carbohydrates for energy. Therefore, pizza is a delicious snack with many health benefits. This is a perfect response and a perfect answer because it has 3 very clear reasons why pizza is nutritional and explains those 3 reasons. So our first one is that it's made with tomatoes. Okay, well, why are tomatoes good? Because according to scientists, tomatoes can help fight cancer. It's got cheese. That's our second example. Why is cheese good? Because it contains vitamin D. And then finally, it's got a third example. It contains a carbohydrate. It's healthy because carbohydrates are needed for energy. So giving those 3 examples as well as 3 explanations. It's also got prove it to me language throughout to connect all the different responses. So when you're coming up with your structure and when you're identifying your examples, you want to follow what is called the ACE strategy to earn all possible points. The ACE strategy stands for assertion, cite an example, and explain. So your assertion, your first part, is going to make a statement that must be proven by the examples and explanations. So sometimes this would be a restatement of the main idea. So if we go back to this one here, our very first sentence, many people enjoy eating pizza. However, many people do not realize that pizza is also a highly nutritional snack. That is our assertion. We're saying that pizza is a nutritional snack. Even going back to the 2-pointer, the first sentence in the 2-point response, pizza is a nutritional snack. That's your assertion. As long as you have some kind of restatement of the question that's being asked, then you're going to have your assertion. Then you're going to cite your examples. You're going to have 3 examples. To cite just means to make reference to. So you take an example from the passage, you put it in your response to support your assertion. You can quote it or you can paraphrase it, but as long as you've got 3 different examples, that's all you're looking for. And then your explanation is going to explain the example and connect how the example supports the assertion. So if we go back to the 3-point response, it says it is made with tomatoes. That's our first example. Okay, well, how are tomatoes healthy? And that might be obvious to you, but they want you to explain every single aspect of it. So you need a reason why tomatoes make pizza healthy. So then the next sentence, according to many scientists, tomatoes help to fight cancer. That's what makes it healthy. All right. So your assertion is going to be your first sentence, and then the rest of your response is going to be it's going to be your example, an explanation, an example, an explanation, your final example, your final explanation. All right. So there should be 1 assertion in your response, and then 3 examples with 3 explanations. So here's an example for a sample prompt and how to identify an assertion and some examples. So we're going to analyze how the facts used in the article contribute to the author's objective. Use examples from the article, The Rising Price of Coffee, to support your analysis. So the assertion here, right off the bat, we're going to take the assertion from the prompt and just rephrase it. So we're going to say the author believes that the price of coffee has reached extreme levels because national coffee retailers are taking unfair advantage of their customers. So now we're going to give 3 examples of how coffee retailers are taking unfair advantage of their customers. So my first example will say, first, according to the author, the U.S. imports most of its coffee from Brazil. And then I'm going to give an explanation. Since gas prices have been rising, the cost of importing goods for other countries has increased, resulting in greater prices to the consumer. All right, so I'm giving my example, I'm giving my explanation. I'm going to give a second example then. Furthermore, that's to continue, give another example. The article states that there is also a terrible drought in Brazil. An explanation. How does a drought lead to coffee producers taking advantage of the consumer. As a result, bean crops are suffering, causing an increase in price. So again, putting that price on other people. And then finally, your third example, in addition, retailers are seizing the opportunity to raise prices and blame the bean shortage for their increase. And then our final explanation, even though retailers are seeing only a 4% increase on their costs, they are passing the cost onto the consumer with an 8% price increase. So again, you see, I'm giving three different examples that support the overall assertion, and I'm giving explanations for each example to connect that example to the assertion and explain how that example supports the assertion. So this next assignment you're going to do is you're going to read an article called A Nation Divided, North versus South. It's all about the Civil War. After that, you're going to use the ACE strategy to respond to the following prompt on the provided Google Doc. The prompt is, analyze how the advantages of the North ultimately allowed them to win the Civil War. Use information from the text to support your response. So you're going to identify three different reasons why the North was able to win the war, basically is what we're asking. What are three advantages that the North had that allowed them to win the Civil War? So you're going to give your example, and then you're going to explain how that particular advantage helped them win the war. Yeah, it might be obvious to you. Maybe they had more soldiers. That's an obvious advantage. But you need to explain why having more soldiers allowed them to win the war. Okay, so you have to be very, very clear with your explanation. If you have any questions, as always, please email me or reach out to me on the Google Hangout.